We are told to dress according to the climate in which we live. I have seen some of our people around the U.S. in the summertime wear thick turtlenecks. That is a mockery to the dress reform. It looks ridiculous to wear thick turtlenecks in the summertime. We are to wear the material according to the climate. There is like bed linen, thin linen. You can wear the thin material. If it's 120 degrees, I'm not wearing this. I'm going to wear lighter material. Thin linen, soft cotton, and you can wear lighter colors in the summer. I wear the darker colors in the winter, and I wear now we don't want bright colors that say, hello, look at me. But we want to look according, and dress according to our skin tone, she said. Not every color looks good on me. You know what I'm saying? What may look good on me may not look good on you. So we have to not do it according to how they're dressed, but what looks appropriate for us.
What I don't understand about the bright colors.
What'd you say?
I don't understand about the bright colors. If
Oh,
I
she
feel
tells
nice
us-
and sunny,
she
I
tells
should be
us-
able to wear yellow.
If it's a soft yellow, she tells us in Ministry of Healing we're not to wear any bright colors, because what the bright colors is, it's taking them off of Christ and it's putting them on you. We don't want anything that's going to bring attention to us. There's nothing wrong with wearing yellow, but you've got your fluorescent yellows and you have your soft pastel yellows. There's the difference. And it's all under the subject of dress in Ministry of Healing. This is Pathways to Health and Happiness, another title for Ministry of Healing. But it's also in Christian dress or Christian temperance and Bible hygiene. It's in the Health Reformer article. She has a lot to say in there. So if you read the books, you'll see what she's saying. Because it's all about who should get the glory and the attention. Christ, right? And be like John. John said, what did John say? He will decrease, and he wants Jesus to increase. Amen. And that doesn't mean we have to look like scarecrows.
It doesn't mean we have to look horrible either.
That's right. And we're not supposed to look like pilgrims.
That's right.
She said, we do not need to dress like Holly Hobby and the pilgrims. And I'm not trying to put anybody down.
Exactly.
And we don't need to wear bonnets that have bills 2 feet sticking out. Because what you're doing is you're putting a mockery to the dress reform. We're to look elegant.
Yes, we are.
We're to look like ladies. And we should iron our clothes. And she said there's another extreme. Those people in the dress reform, they look sloppy
Yes.
and untidy and unkept. Yes,
And there are a lot of
okay.
us that look like that.
Number 9, do you cover your limbs, your arms, your legs at all times? This is including the winter and the summer months. If you put no, put a red check mark. If you wear short sleeves, put a red check mark. Or shorts, put a red check mark. Do you keep your feet and ankles covered at all times, including the spring and summer months? I'll bring the quote next time we come. I didn't bring it today.
What about at home? It's not like to wear shorts.
We're supposed to be covered at all times, because what it does is you have an uneven distribution of the blood. And if you're not properly evenly clad, you will not have good health, she says. Yes.
Testimonies volume 11. She says that at home she wore a shorter dress than she did when she was out in public.
But she said her dress was 8 inches short.
But I'm just saying,
Right,
there
right.
is a difference
Right,
in the way
right.
that you can dress at home
Right.
than you can when you go
But
out.
she had the pants on underneath.
Yes,
She had her legs and her arms clothed.
Right.
But she had the shortest her dress was 8 inches from the ground, which was probably like that. That would be considered a short dress
Right.
out in public.
Right.
She wore a longer one. No, that's 10 inches from the ground. She wore an 8 inch from the ground when she was out in public. And when you're doing gardening, you need a little shorter dress so
Right.
you can get around.
Right.
Like if I'm walking, sometimes if you're having a longer dress, and sometimes we wear our dresses too long.
Too long, exactly.
She says
She
when we,
actually, there's a boot that she wore that
Right,
came
a
with
gator
past
boot.
the- Yes, the gator boot, and that's as far when your dress is supposed to come down to the top of the gator boot.
that's right. Now I wanted to say something about the dresses. I've heard many people say, well, when I ride a bike, I have to wear pants. Or when I am doing my gardening, I have to wear pants. I'm going to take us to Hollywood. okay? Now, I don't like to include Hollywood in anything, but if you watch the movies up until the mid-'80s, they all wore dresses, and they all wore their tops up to here with the big bows. It was very stylish. If you watch the movie, which I don't recommend anyone watching the movie, but if you did when you were a little kid and you were in the world like I was, we watched The Wizard of, you know who, okay? What was the Wicked Witch wearing when she was on that bike? She was wearing a dress. She was wearing a dress. Hollywood wore long dresses, whether they were riding a bike and if Hollywood, who we know comes from Satan, recognized and understood, what about us? So when people tell me, well, I can't do it riding a bike, do you remember that movie? And I hate to use that as an excuse, but it's the only one that I know, and I know people in the world, they watch that movie. So I try to remind them, even Hollywood dressed that way. The women were fully dressed, completely dressed. Go watch the movies, Ozzie and Harriet. Watch Leave It to Beaver. Now, I'm not telling you to watch it now, but these are things we watched when we came up, unfortunately. How were all the women dressed? The Brady Bunch. Some of them had little tiny, but they were wearing dresses. They all wore dresses. The mom was wearing dresses a lot of the time. Now, when you got to the 70s, it was more liberated. So they were getting into the pants already. But if you watch earlier movies, the 50s, the 60s, the 40s, they all wore dresses. Now, who's the inventor of fashion?
Satan.
We're told Satan is the inventor of fashion.
But also Jesus. Well, you had already made that statement about you're supposed to at least dress healthy, because I think about them emphasizing Satan is the inventor of fashion. Then I go a little higher and I think about, well, you know, Jesus, you know, he has the designs. You know, he created designs. But I understand.
Yes, in the and remember, when God made this earth, all the jewels and precious stones were on top.
That's right.
But because of sin, what did we do to them?
They had to be buried.
They had to be buried because we coveted them. They're our idols. That's why God said, don't wear them, right? Now, when we get to heaven, are we going to be wearing them? Yes, but because of sin. Now, I can wear gold, and it's not going to puff me up.
Right.
So I think,
Yeah.
but it might puff her up.
Right.
I've seen little girls look at women's bracelets. Little girls, ooh, that's pretty. We're putting a stumbling block before me. So you may not, because I've had people tell me, well, this is not my idol. If it's not your idol, take it off, because the Bible said don't wear it. Well, I like pretty things, but you might be a stumbling block to somebody else, and that might become their idol. And when you're spending more money on jewelry than you are giving tithe and offering, that's your idol.
And also, we have to remember that we're living in the Day of Atonement.
That's right.
In the Day of Atonement, all jewelry was taken off.
That's right. We are living in the Day of Atonement. Thank you, sister. And in the Day of Atonement, all jewelry was removed. The priest was fully clothed. And they had a step or something, right? So that even his nakedness, she called the ankle, the Bible calls the ankle the nakedness.
Right.
And I'm going to bring a quote in 2 weeks where Sister White says, when the women's dresses were so long,
Yeah.
they would pull them up to get up on the trains and the
Not
trolley
supposed to
cars.
do it.
And their legs and their feet would be exposed and their ankles would be exposed. And she said, and the men didn't blush. She said the men should blush when they see the woman's foot and ankle exposed. But because it was a fashion and they were accustomed to it, they didn't think it was bad. What is something we do in the summertime where we expose our feet and our ankles?
Sandals.
We wear flip-flops, and sandals, right? According to our message, we're not supposed to. And not just because she calls it an immodest dress. But not just because of that, are you evenly clad? Now, I love flip-flops. And I just learned about this probably 5 months ago. That was a hard one for me. But I said, I'm going to let flip-flops keep me from salvation? No. I'm not going to do it. I'm going to say, but you know what? I still wear my flip-flops. I put my socks on, and I put my flip-flops
I have my
on.
sandals, I have my
And I wear them in the house, and I'll wear them. Sometimes I'll go outside. It might look a little funny to some people, but it's comfortable to me
Right.
when I'm in my home, in my area.
Right.
So, you know what I'm saying? So I can still wear the flip-flops. I didn't have to give them up.
Right.
Okay, let's go on. But we're going to try to stick to the health principles today, not so much the doctrinal. Okay, number 11. Do your feet get wet at all during the wet months? Okay, if yes, put a red check mark. Number 12. Do you wear high heels? If yes, put a red check mark. Now, I'm going to talk about high heels for a little bit. And this is not to criticize anyone. I used to wear high heels all the time. First of all, we talked about the beast coming up out of the abyss, right? Who do we teach that is? France?
Oh, yeah.
France?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Who is the fashion capital of the world?
Yeah.
Do you know that all the high heel fashions come from Paris? Should we be patterning our everything? When she says be modest, she means from head to toe. Even our feet. And if you look at the Israelites, they had the flashy belts and the collars and the moon bonnets, and they have what we have today. She even talked about the tinkling feet. They had the pretty shoes too. If our shoes are flashy, we're not wearing a modest dress. And we're not supposed to pattern after Paris. Because they're of the world. They reject God. And the other thing is, when you're on a high heel, your heel really shouldn't be more than an inch high. And when you're on a high heel, it tilts your uterus, it tilts your internal organs, and your posture, your alignment, your curvature of your spine is not correct. And we are told, and when we get into dress later, way in the future, we are told that of the first thing that we should fix, she says, is our posture. So we have to have, and if you're wearing high heels, you can't. And I remember when I first started wearing, I was 14 years old trying to be cute. I was all wobbly. I couldn't. It's not normal. And the heels shouldn't be so thin and spiky where you don't have a balance. It should be more, if you look at the gator boots the women wore in Sister White's day, it was more like a thicker heel. You know what I'm saying? So you can have a little heel, but it shouldn't be a high heel. It's really, we really have to get back to the posture, because that can have an effect on the blood, and it messes up the internal organs of the body. But once again, this is not to step on anyone. Okay, so if you put yes, put a red check mark. Number 13, do you wear artificial braids or wigs? If you put yes, put a red check mark. Does anybody know why? She says the artificial hair causes congestion to the head. And she says that it causes the blood to be uneven in the body. Now, we're not going to look at people, oh, she's wearing a wig, we don't do that. We be the examples. We pray, and we're not expected to do this in one day. It's not going to happen in one day. But did God make the world in one day? But did it take him 7 years to do it? No. See, we use the excuse, well, I can't do it all in one day, and we wait 5 years to do it. No, God is calling us to come up. We are told in First Manuscript Release, page 33, paragraph 3, those who come in the end and learn these things will learn in weeks and months what we have been in the message have learned in years. God wants us, and as soon as we learn it, to grab it. Little by little, start adopting it into our lives. Okay. Number 14, do you color your hair with anything other than henna? And I'm talking about henna that doesn't have any dyes in it, because some of them do have dyes. And the reason I ask that is because if you use bleach or dye or anything that's not natural, it goes in. I have a friend who has a relative that does autopsies. And when I had to go look at some autopsies years ago, where they butterflied the bodies and they literally the brain, I was there. The people who do this,